Most of the heroes within this game require you to have really good aim, and this video is going to go over 5 heroes that you can use if you have little to no aim skills whatsoever. Now that's not an excuse for you not to practice with your aim, as a lot of the meta heroes do require a decent amount of aiming skills. But if you just want to get into a couple of games and you don't need to focus too much on your aim or your settings or anything like that, then this video is definitely for you. Starting off at number 1 and the most meta hero that requires no aim, and it's a strategist within Cloak and Dagger. Now as you can see here, Cloak requires no aim whatsoever. I've specifically designed this reticle for you to see how big the radius is of his attack. You don't need to be aiming on the target whatsoever to be dealing damage, which is absolutely insane. So as you can see here, we're nowhere near the enemy here, but we're still dealing damage to them. Now people don't realize that Dagger also works in the exact same way as well. So as you can see here, I'm not aiming at that target whatsoever. My reticle's way off to the left here, but it's still locking onto them. So as you can see, they both have a lock-on effect. And this works the same if you're trying to heal your teammates as well as Dagger. So you don't need to be aiming directly on them. The closest target to you will be getting either damaged or healed up, and that is how this works. Now you do need to be aiming roughly in that direction, but as you can see here, it's like way big in terms of the radius and how close you need to be to the target. The next hero, which is a DPS now, which works in the exact same way, and that's Scarlet, which as you can see here, we're not aiming at the target whatsoever, but we're dealing damage. Now the really good thing with Scarlet Witch is that she does deal more damage than Cloak and Dagger because she is a DPS hero, and the way it works is that the higher the HP of the hero you're killing, the more damage she deals. So she deals less damage to the lower HP heroes, so you want to be aiming for the Vanguard style heroes. Now she also has a secondary attack as well, which you can throw in the mix, and that's going to allow you to get way faster kills, as you can see here. And that requires a little bit of aim, but as you can see, for the most part, the main primary attack requires no aim whatsoever. Now, all the rest of the heroes in this video are DPS, and the next up, we do have Mr. Fantastic, which is our new hero. So as you can see here, his attacks deal damage by him punching the enemy, and you might think this is very similar to Groot's attack, but it's actually not, because the difference between Mr. Fantastic and Groot is that you can basically swipe this across your screen and deal damage to multiple enemies. So even if you miss, so even if you're hitting out here, you can drag that across and you'll still deal damage. So you basically realize you've missed, just drag your attack and you'll still be doing some kind of damage to the enemy players. As you can see here, we can hit more than one opponent with the attack at the same time as well, and this is going to grant you your big bubble attack. And the same thing goes for when you are in the kind of big bubble state as well. You basically just swipe your stick across the screen and you're going to be getting hits even though you've literally missed your shot so many times. You just swipe it in the direction of the enemy and you'll still get kills. The next one's a hero people might not think about, and that's Squirrel Girl, because basically her attacks deal explosive damage. So as you can see here, as long as you're hitting in the general direction of these enemies, you're going to be dealing tons of damage. And she's one of the highest damage output heroes within this game in general, and you can take out tanks so easily if you're landing a few of these. So basically you want to make sure you're round about the location. You don't need to be spot on with your aim. If you are spot on, you're going to get direct hits, which is perfect, which as you can see here, you destroy and melt through enemies. But even if you're landing close to their feet, that is all you need to do. And if enemies are bunched up in an area, you don't need to aim for anyone in particular. You just aim it in the general direction of where the enemies are standing together, and you're going to be dealing damage to absolutely everyone within that range. So the last and final hero that requires not much aim whatsoever is Moon Knight. Now what's good about Moon Knight, first of all, is that his attacks, if you do hit a target, as you can see here, it's hitting multiple targets at once. So it's basically you aim for the biggest hero in the team. So you aim for the vanguards that are easy to hit, like a Groot, and then also you're dealing damage to the other heroes as well. So basically you only need to aim for the easy targets, so don't aim for the moving targets, and you're going to be dealing damage to absolutely everyone. Now let's say there is only moving targets on the other team, and that is where his Unk ability comes in. And what you want to do is throw an Unk down and basically fire at the Unk, which does not move. So all you do is stand, fire, and this is going to be basically aim locking anyone within that radius. So as you can see here, you can use your primary attack, you can use your secondary fire, that also works as well. And all you're doing is aiming at a stationary object, which is so easy to kill. Basically anyone within that radius is going to die. And this is going to bounce off of multiple enemies as well, so it makes it even more insane the way Moon Knight works. He's one of the easiest heroes to use when it comes to aiming. Now, honorable mention that we do have is Iron Man. Now, Iron Man has some great capabilities when it comes to not having the best aim. So as you can see here, his secondary attack, because it runs in a straight line, you could pretty much just swipe this across moving targets. So as you can see here, this target's moving. It's so easy to track because you're pretty much aiming in that direction anyway. And as long as you're within the range or the radius of that enemy, you're going to be dealing some kind of damage to them. But not only that, his primary attack works in a similar way to Squirrel Girl, whereas you don't need to be hitting the enemy pretty much right on their body. Now, if you do land a direct hit, you're dealing way more damage, so you do want to be accurate with this hero. But as you can see here, even if you miss, you're still dealing decent amounts of damage to this enemy, especially if they're taking damage also from your teammates as well. So like I said, you want to try your best to aim on target to deal as much damage as you can, but even if you do miss, you're still dealing some kind of damage to the enemy players. So there we have it. Those are heroes you can use if your aim is not the best within Marvel Rivals. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.